Welcome, agents across the country, to our third weekly Mastermind call. Today is November 20th, 2014. I see looks like about 18 people on the call so far. And welcome to all of our new members that came from Vulcan 7 yesterday. You guys are, I can tell already you're going to be fun to work with because most of you, the first question is, can I give you my credit card now so I can sign up? And what do I do next? I've had a ton of those kind of questions. Chad is my partner in Roanoke, Virginia. I'm Jim Sullivan in South Florida. The intent of these calls, guys, is, it's your call. We want to brainstorm with each other and answer each other's questions. For you guys that are brand new, if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, I know a lot of you were asking about training for your staff, for your ISAs, for your assistants. Two things. By now, you should have received a login to our members site, the back end of the website. Go there and pour through the material there. And then secondly, on our homepage, alltheleads.com, there's two recorded calls, which I think came out really well. The one on the top of the page was our first Mastermind call, and there was about 6 agents on there that were all doing very well, and they shared some really good ideas how to maximize, the probate leads. On the bottom of the page, there's a training call with really aggressive agent in Austin, Texas. He was brand new and knew nothing, and Chad and I kind of took him through the whole process. And those calls, I think they ran like 20 or 25 minutes apiece, so that'd be a real good place to start. If you have assistants that need to be trained, I'd recommend that they listen to those calls also. I'm going to pretty much just over and above that, I'm going to open it up for questions. Chad, is there anything you want to say to get started?
No, I think you covered it.
All right. So you guys know, you don't need to hear our life story or anything. I've been a realtor for almost 40 years, and I've been actually using this system for about 6 months now. Chad is probably our most successful agent with it, and he is very meticulous. He's got a very organized system. If you've signed up, Chad, I sent them all your mailing templates. I sent them the recorded coaching calls that you did, and I sent them your 33-touch campaign. Now, Chad has a 33-touch campaign. I don't want to concern anybody. Chad, how many times out of those 33 touches do you usually end up actually contacting the people? You hardly ever make it through all of them, right?
Yeah, business gets in the way. So I, without fail, always do the 3 direct mail touches. So I would say at a minimum I do, 3 letters and 1 phone call or recorded voicemail at a minimum. And most of I'm not a very good prospector, so I'm not a good example. Like I should be sitting there. I don't have an ISA. Unfortunately, I am still the ISA, so I don't sit and make 147 phone calls like I should. If you do have an ISA, you'll be way more successful. I make sure that I pull the trigger on all 3 direct mail pieces at the same time. You're going to double up on some of them, but when you do get a listing appointment, just be sure to say, hey, you might see another letter or 2, just trash those. We put everything in a sequence. So in order not to something I've learned is with my 27-touch campaign, the moving parts, it's manageable the first month and maybe the second month. By the end of the 3rd month, you have, 70-some different variables to manage, and it gets overwhelming. So my advice is to get yourself a good system. Whatever you're using, if you're an Infusionsoft or Top Producer or Follow Up Boss, try to build it into that. And I have videos on how I set up my Top Producer. But we can handle the mailing for you. My advice is do a minimum 3-touch campaign with 30-day spacing and order it all at once and forget about it. Even if you want to do 17 touches, order it at once and just get it off your plate. Because that's the one bottleneck that I've found in my business is, when I'm out listing 68 houses, I don't have time to do mail or I don't have time to make the phone call. So I want to know that some of that stuff's taken care of. And through systemization, you can set up the mail so it's all done in a sequence and you only have to touch it once. If you even touch it at all, we can automate that for you. The voicemail campaigns, you can set that up. So the way I set my voicemail is it's a ringless voicemail. So it seems like I sat down and made the phone call. And I'll put that in sequence with the mail. So when letter one hits, or letter one mails first class, the voicemail will play at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night on the third day from the time that mail sent. And unfortunately, I can't fully automate that. That's a manual setup through whichever call service I'm using. But basically on the heels of each letter, place a voicemail or have your ISA place a live phone call. And, just a gentle touch of, hey, this is Chad from Corporate Real Estate Advisors. I sent you a letter this week. Just wanted to make sure you got that. And don't really go into script or anything. Make sure they got your mail. And then if they didn't, you can, say, well, the reason we were reaching out, and then kind of go into script. Your outbound call scripts are going to be a lot different than your inbound call scripts. And if you look at the campaign outline that Jim probably sent out to you, I just kind of quickly scripted out the outbound script so you can hand that to your ISA, load it into your system, use it however you'd like. The inbound call scripts, I don't have in writing. It's going to be a different conversation. Most people are a bit confused, why they got a letter from you. Some are offended because they don't truly understand the value of what you're doing. So on your inbound calls from your direct mail, just, my advice is get yourself to a point where you have an unshakable faith in your why of why you're doing this. It's not for a commission check. It's because you see a need in the community. For me, I have an estate sale team, a clean out crew, a rehab crew. I can provide, title services for really messy title situations. So you can quickly, in 5 seconds or less, kind of give your USP and say, listen, we saw a need in the market. We saw too many homes expiring on MLS, and we filled that need. So we've got a team specific to your situation. That's why you got a letter. And usually they go, oh, my God, that's awesome. And, boom, it turns into a listing appointment. So I need to do that, sit down and kind of script how those calls go. You'll learn quickly. I mean, with the inbound calls, I would say 80% of them will go that way. So you'll have to sell yourself in 10 seconds or less to keep them on the phone, and then they'll be your best friend. Because when they realize you reached out for the right reason, they see the value in that.
Excellent. Good summary. For the same thing, guys, we've found with certainly use your own letters if you're comfortable with something, if you have something that works for you. The letters that seem to be the most effective are when you give the homeowner multiple options. If they've gotten anything at all from anyone, it's probably from an investor that is looking to steal the home. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Put it down. The letter that I use gives them multiple options. I do have an investor that'll pay cash and close quick.
Let me see the picture.
If you're looking to get top dollar for your home, I can put it in MLS and market it for you.
Next one. Is
and the good news,
hey, Jim?
Yeah, somebody's having a conversation.
Yeah.
If you can block that out, please. Okay, thank you. I prefer the multiple option letter I was saying, and if you're looking to list it, we can do that and get you top dollar. And the good news is if your situation changes anytime during the listing period, the investor offer would still be on the table. People seem to like that. I've actually, in the few months that I've been doing this, I've actually bought and flipped 3 properties, and all 3 of them said they called because I was giving them multiple options, but they went ahead and took the quick sale option. And Chad and I have actually had a couple agents that say, well, I don't have an investor. I said, come on, you're a realtor. Can you find somebody in your market that would buy a house for 60 or 70% of the value? That's not too hard to do. So it doesn't mean you have to use that campaign. We've found it to be the most effective. People love to buy, but they hate to be sold. They need direction, but they don't particularly like to be told what to do. So
what are the follow-up letters? This is Bo in Orlando.
Yeah.
There are 3 letters. What are the others? I use your multiple option letter.
Good.
What do I follow the letters up with?
You should have them, Doug. Chad, are they posted on the website yet? Do you know on the back end your letters?
I haven't.
All right. If you don't have the letters we're referencing, send me an email. Send it to just send it to my personal Jim at Sullivan SULLIVAN, sold, SOLD.com. Send me an email and say I want the follow-up letters. We were in the process of posting them on the back end on the members site. I'm not sure if they're there yet. Anybody who signed up with Vulcan yesterday, I sent them over to you as kind of a bonus early. All right. Well, excellent job, guys. There's about 20 of us on the call. I'm sure anybody have any specific questions that Chad or I or anybody else in the group can help you with?
Hey, Jim, Blair Ballin.
Oh, Blair, I know your question already, but go ahead.
Yes, basically just wondering what to use for programs that will allow the snail mail letters to be basically put on some type of program to where we don't have to do much with it.
Yeah, Blair had asked me, Chad, and I said that you would elaborate. There's multiple, the mailing house that we are using, which has been phenomenal in both quality and timeliness, and somebody's dinging. Let me turn
on. Blacksmith, somebody like shooting a horse.
I hate to mute people out. I like these to be an open exchange. Blair was asking about the cost of the mailings, Chad, and I told him you can get it as low as 45 cents for bulk mail, but the campaign that's been the most successful, would you describe the cost of that and what actually goes out?
Yeah, I mean, so there's obviously a range to the cost, and we're still negotiating with the mail house to button down those final costs and bulk. The mail piece that I use is usually a blue or yellow pastel greeting card envelope with no name but a return address, just so I know what's bouncing back, and then a handwritten font with the personal representative or executor's address and name and mailing address. And then the letter template that you saw, it comes with a live first class stamp. So the bulk rate postage, we can really compress that price down. I don't, knowing what I know about direct marketing and all the Dan Kennedy stuff and everyone else that's ever spent millions of dollars learning this stuff, bulk rate postage is usually not what most people teach. So I've just gone with what everyone else learned the hard way, and I've always used live first-class stamps. And it was interesting. I sent Jim a text last week. So since I'm kind of embarrassed, I've got a P.O. box that I hardly ever check. Since I last checked that mailbox, I sent 2,000 pieces of mail, and I had 6 return letters to my probate lists. So they are getting delivered. They are getting, I don't know if they're getting opened, but chances are if it comes in a birthday card envelope, you probably have a 100% open rate. But 6 out of 1,000 are, that few actually got returned to me. So the cost is ranging, I think 88 cents was the lowest I've ever gotten, and that was a really high volume That actually wasn't to probate. That was to a high volume buyer campaign, but it can range anywhere from, 88 cents to $1.50 for a first-class live stamp directly delivered to the sorting center.
So that will include everything, which is the writing of the envelope and the stamping and the pack and the letter itself in the envelope?
It is, and that's the most expensive. So if you go with a one-color instead of a two-color printed letter, it cuts about 15 cents a piece off of those. I have a two-color logo, and then I use a blue ink handwritten signature on my letters. So I have a 3-color, it's 3 colors in the letterhead. If you have a black and white logo or your logo looks good in black and white, and you can just print a black and white letter, you can trim that cost down considerably.
And what is the name of that vendor?
We can set that up for you. We'll have the technology connected where you should be able to order the mail directly through either your whatever dashboard you're using, or the Leads Today dashboard from the members site.
Okay. So then 2 other questions. So one, I am a Vulcan user. I was using your guys' program before you integrated with Vulcan. So the benefit to Vulcan is just having the cell phone numbers there in addition to whatever numbers already, and a dialer and all that voice broadcast stuff, all correct?
Right.
Okay. And then last question, is there a Facebook group for you guys?
There is, and there's actually 2 that we have. Well, we have a Facebook page, and then we have a Mastermind group. I tried to add the new members last week, and it wouldn't let me because they weren't my friends. So I will try to figure that out. I never claimed to be a social media expert, but I will try to get everybody into that group. If you don't see an invitation, my name's Chad Corbett. Send me a friend request, and it'll be easy to add you there. I've figured that much out at least.
Who is this? Who's Corbett?
Corbett, Corbett.
And Chad, what's the overall Facebook page? The one that's not, just the regular one. That's not.
The open is should be Facebook / all the leads with no spaces.
And we'll get you an invitation to the members.
And that's a good place. If you're not getting into the mastermind group, you can post on that wall and just say, hey, Chad, remember to get me in. But the intent there is to post these recorded calls. So if your ISAs or other staff or agents on your team weren't able to make this call or next week's call, that will be kind of a living archive. And I think, the direction we're headed is probably turning this to maybe a Google Hangout format so you can have video trainings and maybe even do some trainings where you can see my system, how I set it up. I'm not sure how many people use Top Producer, but we've got it dialed in to where it's actually it's working really well with this strategy. So if that's helpful to anybody, we can do that too.
Jim, I have a couple questions.
Please.
And if you don't mind, Chad, can you give us a little bit of a bio on you in terms of, team, production, that kind of thing?
I'm in my first year of real estate. I've worked in high-end resort real estate across the country, and I've relocated from Maui, Hawaii to Roanoke, Virginia, and did not know the first thing about selling brick ranch homes. So about February, I admitted to myself that I was a realtor, and I started building a team right off the bat. I didn't, and so far this year, it's me, an assistant, 2 buyers agents. I'm just building that team, just building the systems. I'm on track to do right around 50 transactions for the year.
Okay.
Just me without the buyers agents producing yet. They've kind of just come on. So I'm pretty green in the residential space. I've done a lot of different things. I've been an investor and flipped houses and done a lot of that stuff. So that's, I've done a lot of probate as an investor. I've bought and sold a lot of these houses at 50 and 60 cents on the dollar. And really, part of my big why in doing this is I feel like I can help more people as a realtor. You see so many houses that, Sally Joe from church will take one picture with her cell phone and throw it on MLS. It'll sit there for 6 months overpriced, expire, and then the bank gets it because it had a reverse mortgage on it. And frankly, I just got sick of seeing that. So we get in front of those people first, and unfortunately, we get in front of our investor clients too sometimes. But we'll gladly sell it to them too. If the motivation is there, like if they just need a quick solution, we'll take that to our investors or we'll buy it in house. But that's probably 10% of 10% or less of your overall list. 90% of these people can sell for retail, and that's really why I do this. So I'm learning too. I've tried to do a good job of tracking and keeping metrics, and the best I can tell, like I'm not perfect at it, but I usually list, out of every 100 probate leads, I can list 2 of those homes per touch on direct mail campaigns. Okay. So for each letter I mail, I should get 2 listings. And unfortunately, I'm in a pretty low median price point, so that's not quite what some of our California clients are doing, but it's pretty damn good return. I mean, we had a guy on the mastermind call 2 weeks ago. I think he was, for a $1,500 marketing cost, he had 30,000 DCI in the pipeline. So that's pretty phenomenal.
How many have your longer-term clients sold and closed based on what you've been hearing thus far through this program, Chad?
I think our longest-term client is the guy in Central Florida who's 4 months. I mean, we're relatively new, and his best month, he's in matter of fact, is he on, Paul Hayhurst, are you on the call? No? Paul?
He's doing deals.
Yeah, do deals. He had 2 listings his first month and 6 his second, and I haven't heard from him since. He's been
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's my own experience with it. I'm in South Florida. The first month I sent out the letters, I got almost no response, and then towards the end of the second month, the phone started to ring. There is a cumulative effect. I'm so busy. I've got 3 businesses I'm running. I'm not following up with the calls like I should. I think if I did it Chad's way, I'd probably be listing 3 times as many. But the nice thing, I was telling an agent this morning, I sold real estate for 30 years, and I used to prospect, and everybody I was talking to had 20 other agents talking to them. The beauty of these leads is almost every time I'm the only agent they're talking to, and I don't even have to go on a listing appointment. I just get their email address and send off the documents, and they sign them and send them back. So it's just a really efficient way to take listings. The statistics, let me just finish real quick. The statistics that we've seen is that somewhere around 60% of these houses are going to, 50 to 60% will sell within 6 months, and about 90% of them are going to sell within a year of the person dying.
Wow.
So yeah, some people take action right away. Some of them it's emotional and they want to go clean mom and dad's stuff out before they list it. So that's why we really recommend a multi-touch campaign. You just don't know at what point they're going to be ready to pull the trigger. But when they are, you want them to call you, and hopefully you're the only one that followed up with them.
What about average sales price, guys? I'm taking a guess at this, that our average sales price might be a little bit less as a rule.
Yes, it is in Osceola County.
Say that again?
Yes, it is in Osceola County, where I am. This is Bo.
Where are you?
I mean, it's Osceola County, Florida.
Okay.
What I'm finding is my probate leads are Osceola County is low anyway, but then the probates are lower than the medium, and that's to be understood because people who are into probate haven't thought of how to have trust and things like that. So
and that's
find the
one
same thing, Chad.
Yes. In my area, there's not there's Virginia's unique. Like, we don't use attorneys here, and that's a whole other conversation. Like, most of you guys are going to be getting attorneys' contact information along with the personal representative contact information. In Virginia, most of my probates are slightly below median. Some are real low because they've been vacant and they've just been in disrepair. But for the most part, they're going to be homes with a considerable amount of and maybe not deferred maintenance. They're going to be dated homes.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But they're also realistic sellers. So and I'm in a market where we hardly ever have multiple offers. I've been able to drive my prices up 11% this week on 2 multiple offer situations on 2 separate houses, which is unheard of here. So if price and marketing sells real estate. So if you price them aggressively, and for the most part in my market, the people are very realistic on price, and they will price where you advise them to price, which gets them sold quickly. And that is going to be below, usually below your median retail price.
Okay.
Something like on the West Coast, what we found, even in the in California and the Bay Area, where you have populations in excess of 2 million people per zip code or per county, sometimes you'll have as few as 20 leads in those zip codes. And I think the only real explanation I can think for that is people are using trust more commonly out there in that income bracket. You get much fewer,
right.
Way fewer leads. So it's different throughout the country. I mean, in the South, it seems like the vast majority of homes go through probate. On the West Coast, very few go through probate. And what market are you in?
Who, me? Paul?
Yeah.
I'm in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Okay. So, I mean, you obviously have a huge population, and
yeah.
I would imagine that's there's quite a bit of wealth in your zip code. Those people are probably not going to be your probate leads. You're probably going to be touching the.
Chad, we had someone on the call that I spoke to yesterday, I think, from Vulcan 7, Orange County. The person who signed up for Orange County, are you on the call? Because I was I was pleasantly surprised. He had over 300 leads a month in Orange County.
Really? That's awesome.
This is Orange County.
Orange County, Florida. California, not Florida, Bo.
Okay. Yeah.
Jim.
The other Orange County. Yes, sir.
Yes, this is Imran. I talked to you yesterday. You said in my county it's about 250 every month.
Yeah, and you're in New York, right, Emrod?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
Yeah, and you're basically in Brooklyn. Are you in an upscale area?
It's Queens, New York, which is next to Manhattan, which is New York City.
Right. And one of the things, guys, I think I shared with a lot of you, there's nobody else that offers just probate leads. There's a couple services that offer what they call inherited properties, and all they're doing is just skimming deeds for $0 transfers. So that, this is you're getting 100% of the probates that are filed. So I don't doubt that some of them avoid probate. People, just like some multinational corporations, don't pay any income tax, but the good news is the ones you get are good, and they're motivated people. They have to sell whatever the number is. One thing too, we've been tracking this for over 2 years now. Almost without exception, whatever your leads show on your website there, you'll usually get that many or more. It's pretty rare that you'll get less. Whatever it said your average leads are,
I usually, based on what I see and the subscribers that I watch, it's typically, in my experience, 20 to 30% greater than the estimate.
Yeah.
Okay. Jim?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about attorneys for a second. Are
Please.
you aware of any of your agents using your service that are having success through attorneys?
Yeah, I'm hoping that are either of them. There's two. I think it was Ken Barley, and who was the other one, Chad?
Yeah, I'm here. I got on the call late. I had another call I couldn't get off of.
As a matter of fact, one of the mastermind call that I referenced right up on the top of our website was Ken and another agent that are doing well with attorneys. Ken, you were one of them, right? That's prospecting.
Yeah, well, I'm just starting, but again, I think that's where the gateway is for a lot of this stuff, and it segues right into what you were saying earlier about the trust. I live in a high demographic, high cost area, and a lot of people use trust, so they don't show up on the probate. So trying to figure out how to get to those, without tracking the obituaries every day, which I may eventually do,
And one of the things we've noticed is, Ken, when you get your leads, how many leads are you getting per month?
I'm getting anywhere from 38 to 45 for my county of Contra Costa, California, which is in the Bay Area.
And I'll bet, and we've looked at nationally, I'll bet if you look at those 45 leads, probably there's 5 attorneys that are handling almost all of them. Are you finding that?
More than that, but there are some names that I'm starting to notice that are popping up on a regular basis. And so over time, those are the ones I'm going to target,
Right.
And whether I have to pay them a referral fee or do extra free stuff for them, so that's the gateway. Because otherwise, your success rate's going to be lower. And what you want to do, you want to be the referred person. Referrals are very powerful in this business. I've been at it for 31 years. If you can get a referral, your chance, you're going to compete. At least I expect to compete on listing appointments. The referral person always has a leg up.
And someone else was going to comment on attorneys. Was that you, Bo?
Yeah. In fact, I was just on the phone with the leading probate attorney in Osceola County. What I found with Lee is I went to meet him. He told me, I said, who is the realtor in the area who you refer most to? And he told me, and this is a good old boy, and he's a good guy, but he's in Rotary and all this with him. So I said, I'm going to prove to you that I can perform as well or better than he is. So what I've done on the calls that I have made and connected with the personal representative for whom Lee is the attorney, then I will turn around and say, do I have your permission to get permission from Lee to work with you? And then I go back to Lee to an email and a call, and he says, yeah, you go ahead. You got it. You got this one. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So it's looping back around, and it solidifies with Lee, hey, yeah, I really am working out there.
Hey, Bo, say that again. Do you have? You're talking to the attorney, and you ask him if you have his permission to talk to the family?
No, I asked the personal representative if I have his permission to contact the attorney.
Okay.
Because
Bo, you had the permission anyway, but
I know that, but he doesn't.
Exactly, polite to ask for it.
But the personal representative is kind of baffled by this in any case.
Right.
That makes sense?
Oh, that's
so he
brilliant.
says, "Oh yeah, sure, you can go ahead." Then that gives me the reason, another reason to contact the attorney. Say, "Hey, I'm working with Mr. So and So down here. Hey, can I handle this one?" Because I already know he's got a relationship with another realtor, right? And he'll say, "Yeah, you go ahead and take this one." And then I go back to the personal representative and I say, "Okay, now he said I can handle this, so let's do it." And I'm working in that way.
That's brilliant.
That's
we
very good.
We already know that the relationship's already there, but it's just a matter like it's kind of a referral and such. So I'm building the relationship with the attorney.
I would call that a self-directed referral. Good job.
Right, it is.
That's very good. I like that. Now, on the attorneys, to Ken and Bo, I'm assuming you're having more success on the telephone than through letters. Would that be correct?
Oh yeah. I've used the phone. In fact, this morning I happened to be down here and I did some door knocking, which to those who are not answering my letters and my calls, and I chose 5 this morning, and I went door knocking.
I'm talking about attorneys, Bo.
No, on the personal representative's door.
Okay.
And
he was asking, as far as getting through to the attorneys, you're having more success contacting them versus sending them a letter.
That's right. Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. Same thing with Ken.
Yeah. I call the attorneys as well. Call off the deeds. You bet. Because again, they can cut you off at the knees. You can go in and do a great presentation, but if they cut their buddy or somebody that they normally use, they're wasting your time.
So then, is the consensus that even though we may build rapport with the representative, do a listing presentation in person or on phone, we still want to get to that attorney as well, even though we feel strong with the representative? Is that the consensus?
No, I think well, yes and no. In my experience, and Chad, you chime in, I think we're talking apples and oranges, because vast majority of the time I can go ahead and get the listing without needing to refer to the attorney. But I think Bo is saying refer to the attorney because it builds a relationship for future referrals. And if you're
That's right.
Yeah, if you feel like you need that extra edge because the homeowner's balking or you got competition, use the attorney. But I would take the listing and then call the attorney if they're ready to list.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't need to go get their permission. Right.
You want to be showing that attorney, hey, I can get out here and produce. I can get this done. So then you got the attorney thinking of me instead of his buddy when he's got the option.
I haven't had a single one yet say to me, "Yeah, I'll list with you, but you got to get my attorney's okay." Not one. I'm sure it'll happen. But no, I think you can, vast majority of the time, you can convert the seller without it. But I think, Bo, that's the idea of the day. That's a brilliant.
And they don't say that here. I'm just trying to pull everybody together. Hey, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. What can I do?
What you're doing is you're closing the circle.
That's right.
You're closing the circle.
Yeah, I don't want that attorney to jump in after this thing has been approved. In fact, one door I knocked this morning, the lady said, "Oh, interesting you're here. We just got everything tied up on Friday. Now we're going to go ahead and proceed." Well, I'd already talked to the attorney, and I felt good because I don't want them to call their attorney. Okay, now you got a realtor that you're going to recommend for him to undercut me,
Right. That's where I was headed, Bo. How about RESPA compliant partnering up with lenders, title, maybe some of these contractors, whether it be estate sales, or has anybody approached that kind of idea of partnering up on costs?
I am. I've got my people that, yes.
You mean as far as the cost of obtaining the probate leads?
Yeah, the leads and whatever else.
It's interesting. Our original concept was to a realtor who's struggling and can't afford it, get an investor to pay for it. If you're an investor, get a realtor to pay for it. That'd be a good place to start. You approach an investor and say, I'm going to try to find you some properties for 10 cents on the dollar. Would you contribute it to my marketing cost to find these leads? Of course, then you're going to be obligated to try to deliver some deals to them.
Right.
But, I don't know anybody who's done that. I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Guys, we try to keep these calls at 30 minutes, and we're running 40, but this is a good group. There's about 35 of us on the call. Is there anybody that has a pressing question that's really important that didn't get answered today that you want to ask it? And we take a couple more minutes, or are we good?
Let's go. Let's go to work.
This is Ken. I came into the call late, so I don't know if you covered contact information for our guy out of Roanoke for the marketing. So we send in the information.
Chad?
They do the mailing.
Yeah, Chad. You mind? Give me your email, Chad. To email you directly.
Yeah, it's Chad at RoanokeHomeHub.com.
Chad
what?
Chad.
Please start over.
At Roanoke, ROANOKE, HomeHub.com.
Home Hub?
Hub, yeah.
Okay, great. I'll send you an email.
Like a hubcap. All right, guys. Hey, guys.
Thank you.
This is a regular Thursday event. Thank you so much for everybody who showed up. You've got our Facebook page. You can message us there. You've got my office number, 954-584-0000. As you guys have probably noticed, I'm always on the phone, but I will always call you right back. So thank you so much for making this such a vibrant group, and we look forward to everybody's mutual success. We'll talk to you same time next Thursday.
All right,
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a great week, guys. Take care.